Hello everybody, today we're gonna look at the easiest opening to hit 1500 ELO. So we open up the game with d4, the queen's pawn, and they will respond with the queen's pawn back or with the knight move, but it doesn't matter, that's the good part. Now we develop the bishop and we're playing the London opening. So now they may develop the knight, we develop the pawn because our bishop is out of the pawn chain. So now we close up our pawns, defending the pawn in the center. They might do the same, but their bishop isn't already out. But this is a main line, so it is considered good. We develop the knight, and here's an important part. They might play c4, and now you have to keep in your head, if they play c4, I play c6, and now we make this pawn pyramid. And this is very important, but there is one trap, so let's look at this move. And we develop the bishop and they take. You might say, oh, then I take with the c pawn. Wrong. You play this just to solidify the center, but if they take the pawn, which isn't a good move, we take with the e pawn, because now in the future when we will castle, it's not a move. So let's say they play this, we castle, they castle, we get the e file, and this d4 square is very important. Because in the London, if you win the battle of these two squares, you have a very nice position. And as we see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces defending this square, and 1, 2 this square, and he is only 1 and 1. So that's a very good position. So that's why a lot of times they don't take. Now we just develop the bishop, because now the rook won't support both these squares, these important squares. So they can develop their bishop. There are two moves for this bishop. It's this move or this move. And first we're gonna look at this move. Then we castle, they castle. We develop the last knight, protecting this one, and they might develop their bishop. And now we're gonna play this move, knight to the middle. And they shouldn't take because it's too dangerous, but let's see what happens if they take. So they take, we take back, attacking the knight has to move. So let's say it cannot move to one of these squares, it cannot move to the center, so it has to move very awkwardly back over here. And now we can start with bringing the queen out, the other knight to the party, because now we're threatening checkmate because the knight is left. Let's say they play this move. We just drop back, and now he has dark square weaknesses. So yeah, they might develop the rook. We can already go here. The knight has to block. Now we can even play this move f4. Really, maybe even play g4 in the future. Get the knight behind, and when we take. So let's, for example, they just play the game. They go for this plan to trading off our light square bishop. We go here. They want to trade it off. And we say we can go here. No, let's say we should take, that's important. They go here, they either take this, we attack the queen, that's the move. And now we will get this unstoppable threat, checkmate threat. They can keep in the game for a couple more moves, but this is just GG. So they can take the knight, so they might push on the queen side, but now we take and checkmate. So this is how you can very quickly win games if they take the knight in your center, because you get this nice pawn, the bishop is attacking, and no, I'm sorry, but there is another move. So this is also a line, but let's go to our line, castle, castle, develop the knight. They don't develop the queen, but they develop the bishop. We hop in the center, they take, we take, they have to retreat. And now I said with his queen coming out, they can play g6. And if they play g6, because it blocks the bishop, but it creates these dark squared weaknesses with f4 and the knight coming in. But they can also play something like this. And here we can already sacrifice the bishop, and this will be checkmate. There's nothing they can do about it. They can sacrifice the knight, but it still will be checkmate. So they have to play this, but now you get a very nice attack, and if they play this, they just lose immediately. So that's the bishop move to this square, and then we hop in with the knight, but they don't have to develop the bishop, they can develop the queen. And now you can still go for this, but then you kind of have trouble with the queen taking the pawn over here. So, and you can still try to attack, maybe trade this bishop for the knight and go for the same checkmate idea, but it's a bit different. So in this position I would develop the queen, and if they take you, you even take back with the pawn. Not with the knight, you damage your pawns, but you get this very nice file for the rook. And also ideas of a pawn break on the queen side. So that's the bishop line to e7. Let's look at this line. So there are two lines here. You can drop the bishop back, and you can jump in the center with your knight, which I like. Because if they take with the knight, hoppa, they get forked and you win a piece. So they're not going to do that. If they take like this, you can still take with the pawn, and we still have some attacking ideas, but they don't have the castle, and that's the annoying part. But you still get a very nice position. But if they do just nothing, if they castle here, we castle, we still get a very nice game. So now they might develop the bishop, we develop the knight. They might go here now, but now we can maybe even go here or take this pawn. And a lot of people say this move is bad. The computer always thinks it's bad, but people don't know how to punish it, because it's kind of hard, because this pawn is now weak, but how are they gonna get to this pawn? They're not. If they take, now we can take with this pawn, because now our weakness is gone. So that's also not the worst idea. But let's look at the other line, and that's on the early part, when the bishop comes out of the pawn chain, which I think is a bit more annoying, but not a lot of people play this line. So now we just go with our plan, developing the knight, getting the pyramid, bringing this bishop here, and castling, bringing the rook to the center. So they might play d6, we can play the knight to this move. They can play c4, we know c4, c6, but if they take, we take with the e-pawn. It is actually a big line to take here. I don't really know why, but it is what it is. And now we cannot really play the bishop here because it is defended. If you want to do that, you have to wait with developing the knight, because then the queen is protecting. But I don't like trading off this bishop because you get too much of a trash position. So I like this move. And a little trap, they cannot go here, because now we just kind of win the game. If they move here, we take like this, attacking the queen. And if they take, we have all discovered checks, and they just lose the game. So they have to go back, and then we take, boom, boom, and they have to move the king, and they lose the rook. So that's just crushing. But of course, not a lot of people are gonna play this move. So they might develop the bishop, we castle, but now we see we have the open file. They might castle, rook to e1, and this is just a very nice position. We can, I don't recommend taking, but in some positions, let's say rook comes here, now we take, because it blocks the rook. The rook cannot go to this open file because of the bishop, so that's not, normally that's why you don't take the knight over there. And now we can go with our plan, developing the knight, protecting the other knight, getting the queen over. Oh, and this is always also very important, which I forgot to mention in the previous part. Look, let's say we jump in with our knight, and they go here, but they're not going to take our knight, because then we see we take with the pawn and we have a very nice attack. But how are we going to attack with just the knight in the center? It's with our queen. So now we can go here, before getting the knight over there, and slide the queen over. So they might say, now I can get to the open file. What did I say? We can just play v6, they're not gonna punish us. If you're a grandmaster, you shouldn't play this move, but we're not grandmasters, so just chill. They might go after the pawn, but it's just defended. So now we move here, getting a pin, trending this move. A lot of people won't even see this thread. So they might, I don't know what they can do. They might play c4, attacking, threatening the pawn. And then we already go here, and this is checkmate. They cannot really stop it. So they have to play this, and they lose the rook. And now we're just up a piece, so that's good, right? And we also have a little trick over here, or we can even play this move immediately. Check. It's a fork, so he has to take back, and then we take with the queen. And this pawn is pinned, so we can take the pawn in the center. And we're up an exchange and a pawn. What do you want? So that's that line. So let's go to the start. Let's go even more back. What is your plan in general? So now I've shown you the different lines with the bishop coming out to f5, not coming out to f5, and the bishop to these two squares, and the queen line to get the queen over here. So what is your general plan? Let's go over it one time. d5, bishop out, they play this, knight comes out, we defend our bishop and our center, they play c5, c5, c6, if they take, we take with the e-pawn, they develop their bishop, we develop our bishop, they develop, we develop, they develop their knight, we castle. This is your London position. The bishop is out of the pawn chain. We make a pyramid with our pawns, very strong center. Oh, and there's one line that a lot of beginners play, but it's not good. And it's this c5. They think, I'm attacking your bishop, I'm grabbing space on the queen side. But we drop back and try to find the move you should play in this position. After they castle, for example, you could go for the plan with bringing the queen, bringing the knight, bringing the f-pawn, bringing the rook over. But what is also a very nice move in this position? It's the move e4, just tearing apart their center. And now this pawn is also hanging. We of course have to take this one first. And after this trade, we have the more active pieces, and they have this weakness, which we can get with the queen. So that was the opening to get you to 1500 ELO easily. So thank you for watching.